Growing up as a kid, I always used to think adversity was a bad thing. Playing FIFA on my Xbox growing up, I would work so damn hard to get to Division 1, right, on FIFA, or, get to the cup final, right, on Ultimate Team. And next thing you know, I would lose the match and everything I worked towards was just gone, right? I'd smash my controller, have to buy a new one, and anything, right? Even playing football, because I played a lot of football when I was younger, if we lost a very important match, instead of taking responsibility for it, it's like I would just sulk off, right? As I've grown older and wiser, I mean, I'm only 20 years old, I'm only really just beginning life, but the point is as I've got older and as I've got wiser, right, I began to realize that maybe this adversity thing isn't actually so bad, because really adversity, when you actually have the right perspective on it, can actually, be pointing you in the right direction. It's just a case of having the right perspective of turning that adversity, that negative thought, into a positive thought and a greater advantage, you know what I'm saying? And one kind of quote that's always stuck with me by William Shakespeare was basically the fact that, nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so, right? Because really, feedback is neutral, right? At the end of the day, although sometimes it's much easier said than done, we actually choose to think certain ways, right? We choose our thoughts, we choose to hit snooze as opposed to waking up in the morning and getting to work, right? We choose to skip a workout when we know we should actually work out. We choose to eat Ben and Jerry's when we know we should actually be eating healthy instead, in a way in which is going to help us with our health and fitness goals, right? And so for me, one thing that really shaped my perspective on negative thoughts and turned them into positive thoughts and greater advantages is when I stumbled across a book. Let me see, not sure if it's focusing. I read this like a year ago, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Basically, the quote that has always stuck with me from this book is that every adversity brings with it a seed of an equal or greater advantage. So after reading that quote, it really stuck with me and I let it sink in. And I look back at the main adversities in my life, and I'm also look at my injuries, right? Because as you know, injuries just mess up your head, man. They really mess up your head. And so for me, a few years ago, I twisted my pelvis playing football and rugby, right? And so although this was really bad, man, like having lower back pain for so many months, it is awful, right? But for me, that pain, right, is actually what got me into fitness in the first place, right? It's actually what allowed me to go from that pain to actually not only fix my lower back pain, but get in amazing shape and actually, boost my self-confidence, right? And then a couple of years later, in a club football match, I actually then pulled my tendon adductor, right? Which again, was very painful, very frustrating, but that what made me actually reflect on my current fitness goals and such, which that actually made me discover calisthenics, right? And obviously started calisthenics, I made some awesome progress in the first few months, and then suddenly a chronic elbow injury hit, elbow tendinopathy, tennis elbow and such, which set me back for a bit. But that adversity is what made me buck up my ideas and make, my transformation video, which I've put on this YouTube channel, despite, the previous doubts of, oh, what if I get judged, what if this person says this, I was just like, no. That adversity grew me the courage to make that freaking video. And I can tell you for a fact, if it wasn't for this video, you probably wouldn't be watching this video, because JG Calisthenics probably wouldn't even have a presence on YouTube if it wasn't for that transformation video from that initial adversity of that given injury, you know what I'm saying? And looking back at that, I actually really look at it, I'm just like, wow, every adversity really does bring with it a seed of a greater advantage. It's just a case of actually having the right perspective to see the good in the bad, you know what I mean? Now, although of course I don't do this all the time, because when we're in negative thought, sometimes it gets to us, much more than we'd like, but most of the time when I do have control, I'm just like, right, when I have this negative thought, I think to myself like, why is this good? Or this is good because blank, right? As an example, going back to when I was 16 and I was skinny, weak and insecure, obviously I had all these negative thoughts in myself and look in the mirror and be like, yo, like, you're skinny, you're weak, you are worth nothing, right? And so initially, like, yeah, like those are very negative thoughts, but it was actually that adversity that made me actually get off my freaking backside, right? Stop playing Xbox like almost every hour of the day and actually start getting in shape, right? As I said, that's what got me into fitness, that's what made me get into shape, and that's what actually fixed all those negative thoughts and turned them into positive thoughts when, I started getting compliments from friends and others to the point where, my body was no longer weak and skinny. I was actually now proud and confident in myself, you know what I'm saying? When first starting JG Calisthenics, I always thought to myself, like, what if this business fails? But then I actually thought to myself instead, like, What if it succeeds? You know what I'm saying? So ask yourself right now, like, what negative thoughts are you currently thinking? You know, in fact, you can literally, as I've done myself, grab yourself a pen and paper, write them all down, right? And that's where you can actually just look at it, right? Because when you got it down on pen and paper, you just look at it. You can look at it right in the eye, right? You can actually think to yourself, like, are these thoughts really bad? Or, you know, are they just feedback mechanisms? They're actually trying to tell me to get on track, but I'm just trying and purposefully avoiding and not seeing the right perspective on it. If you've been an OG on this channel for a while, you know that I'm a very big fan of Ryan Holiday and his book, Ego is the Enemy. Because really, the ego, our ego, is what sabotages us from achieving everything we want, right? All of our negative thoughts, all of our negative emotions, it comes from the ego. If you give your ego a name, give it an identity, and tell it to fudge off, right? Because if your ego isn't in control and you're in control, you can actually focus more on what you want to do and what's necessary to actually create the success that you want by turning negative thoughts into positive thoughts instead. So yeah, I believe that's everything covered in this video. That's everything I wanted to talk about. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and stay tuned for the next video, because we're going to touch on how to be really healthy in your mind and body. Now, it's not actually what you believe it will be. And when you actually know what it truly is, you really are going to be much healthier in your physical and mental well-being to not only just accomplish more success in your health and fitness, but to also use that as a tool to accomplish everything else you want to in life. So by all means, stay tuned for that. Keep moving forward. I appreciate you. Ciao, ciao.